It's missing more parts, as you can see. But look, we have new parts to put on it. In the last video, guys, I talked about going to take some stuff to strip it clean. And I was going to show you the results that I got from getting the fender stripped and the cowl panel, which is pretty thin sheet metal. And I wanted to show you guys how they did not warp it. So we're going to bring the camera around here. I actually took a set of my Cobra Jad heads, bare castings, because they were rusty. I had them done. I had a headlight bucket, because I only have one decent one. Thought I had a pair, but I only have one. I took the quarter extensions, the side scoops, the cowl panel, and the fender. So we're going to touch base here on this cowl panel. Look at this. This is a pretty thin piece of metal, and they did not warp this whatsoever. And this is that coating that's on that metal when they strip them. This was not expensive. I'm not going to tell you what I paid, but it was not expensive. If you figure the hours, the chemicals, the sandpaper to do this, it's a no-brainer. Take it to them, strip it clean. They're in York, Pennsylvania. Like I say, they didn't charge a whole lot of money. Turnaround time was very fast. Highly recommend them. No warpage on this panel whatsoever. Now we're going to take you over here to the fender. Now this fender, we showed you in that last video, had a couple different colors on it. There is nothing warped on this fender whatsoever. Now, the only thing that I see on this fender, which was no fault of theirs, was what was under the paint. There was a couple little dings, and we had a couple little dings up here. As you can see, it's good. Now, the back side, you can see there's no undercoating on it. Now, that little flash rust is for me. I took a little OSFO, because there was a couple little crevices where they didn't get in there to blast. But I took a little OSFO, and that's what put that flash rust on it. That's not a big deal. That'll come right off with a piece of 80 grit sandpaper. Be ready for red oxide primer. As you can see, I did get some wheel wells for the car. I make my own red oxide, and that's pretty close to Ford's red oxide. If you can take a peek at that. I'm not going to tell everybody my trick. I guarantee you, and it's got the perfect sheen on it, you wouldn't know it. If you buy the red oxide, there's a couple vendors that carry it. It's very pinky and orange looking. But if you match that up to like, just for example, some of the parts that I cut out of the roof, you can kind of shoot over there. I mean, it's a little dirty, but that and that are really close to the same shade of brown red oxide. But what I'll do is when I put the quarters on, I'll spray the inside of the quarters, the taillight panel. I already sprayed underneath this trunk floor. I'm gonna pull this off because I already scribed it where I got to drill the holes. And you'll see when I pull this off and flip it upside down, I'll show you I already primed that underneath as well. And I got to prep. I got to clean all this up, drill the holes, get some weld through primer. Just a little bit of prep work, but we're going to bring you through it all and show it to you. We're going to take you through how I do it and how I'm going to start to put this back into this car back on. And we're still waiting on parts from CJ's. Oh, well, you know, good old CJ's. They'll get 3 of the 4 parts in. They come from the same place. I don't know why I got one quarter panel in and one not, but whatever. We're not going to complain about that yet. I haven't picked up the sheet metal yet. Hopefully nothing's damaged because, God, I don't want to wait another 2 to 3 weeks for quarter panels. But we're going to keep moving. We can go ahead and start building this back in and get these wheel wells in, and hopefully by the time this is done, we'll have quarter panels. And this back end will be buttoned up and the roof skin can go on, and I'm hoping to start getting this car in primer here in the spring. So here we go. Okay, so what I did here is I just rough fitted this. If you guys use this piece, 1-piece trunk floors, do yourself a favor and make sure this piece is all the way forward against these back of these frame rails underneath here. Because what'll happen is you'll think you're all the way forward, and then you go to weld these 4 welds back here, and you got a gap between your frame rail. So what I did, you know, as you guys saw in my last videos and previous videos, I love the ratchet straps. So I put a ratchet strap on each side, and I put it up to the shock holes, and I ratchet strap it so it pulls it tight up against these frame rails, and then I go underneath it and I scribe where all my spot welds need to be. I'm telling you, ratchet straps, you should keep a couple of those in your garage if you're doing this kind of work, because it definitely helps pulling and putting the sheet metal into shape. So, all right, so what we're gonna do is get this off. That's what you want. All right, take a look inside those frame rails. They are not pretty. We're gonna address those in this video as well. We are going to use the OSFO and a little bit of wire brushing and a little bit of intercoating prep before this piece goes back in. But as I discussed earlier, look, you can see I had already red oxide underneath. I put my scribe marks where I need to drill, and we'll get this prepped and ready and hopefully get this in today. wanted to bring you guys back to see here is the, prior to me drilling those holes on that trunk floor, I sprayed this in OSFO. This has been sitting for approximately hour and a half. This thing was pretty scaly inside, so if you guys think that OSFO doesn't work, take a look in this spot right here, Tyler, where it's still puddled. Look how it's totally took that down to clean metal right there. Now that's the first coat. Now I will go over this again, and I will move it around with a little hand wire brush. Move it around. I want to try to neutralize and eat as much of this rust before this stuff dries. And then when I'm done at the end of today, what I'll do is I'll rinse it out with some water, and then I'll spray it again tonight and just let it go in there and dry for 24 hours. You have to use, well, it's recommended, I don't know if you have to, but it's recommended that you use an oil-based primer. You could use anything like Rust-Oleum or anything. Now, if you're going to use Rust-Oleum, make sure you guys put hardener in your Rust-Oleum. You can get that stuff at any farm store, Tractor Supply, but you can just get a regular old universal magic hardener and just put in, I don't know, put in 4 ounces, 5 ounces to a quart. It doesn't take a whole lot, and mix it up in there, and then you can coat that frame right there, and it's just as good as any of that Eastwood Corrales or Port 15. I don't know, Port 15's hasn't gotten a good rap here lately. I guess it's people found its weakness. I mean, if you can paint a bridge over salt water with Rust-Oleum paint, I think it'd be okay inside a frame rail, but you all make your own decision on that. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna let this eat a little more. I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna show you. All I do is put a little bit of water in a spray bottle, and I'll rinse this frame rail out, and I'll air dry it, let it dry. I'll move on to something else on the car. We'll probably move on to wire brushing some of these edges, cleaning some of this stuff up in this, because when I spray that frame rail, I wanna go ahead and spray this at the same time. So we're kind of multitasking, jumping around here, but we've been waiting on parts, so this is all I can do for now, is just a little bit of tedious work that's been needing to be done. We will continue to clean this rail up a little more. I'm gonna do a little bit of wire brushing in here. I wanted to get this in here to weld today, but I don't know that I'm gonna get it done because I would like to get a little more of this surface rust out of this frame rail. And you should really let that OSFO dry for at least 24 hours. I don't want to get any primer if there's any wet pockets in there. We'll see what we can do. We might just hit it with the air and dry it. I don't know. Let me get through here. We'll put you on time lapse as I rinse this out a little bit, and I'll show you how it looks when it's rinsed with water and air dried. And I'm telling you that rail was pretty nasty inside. And the rust, you could just see the rust fizzling when the OSFO hits it. Make sure you guys wear a mask, a chemical mask. Make sure you wear rubber gloves, and make sure it doesn't hit your concrete, because it will etch your concrete. That's why I have the tarps under here. Hang tight right there, and I'm gonna get a bottle here, and I'm gonna spray a little water in this. You're gonna see how much crud comes out of these frame rails. Just regular old water in a bottle. So what we're gonna do, as you can see, there's a little bit of OSFO laying in there. I'm just gonna take this water. You can just see the crud just runs out. It's just neutralizing that rust. Now, you don't have to do this, but I want this frame rail clean. The cleaner, the better, so when I do prime it, it's not gonna sit there and, have any wet OSFO come out and cause any adhesion issues. But this water will neutralize this enough. You may have to do this a couple times. Just depends how bad your frame rails are. Now, if you look over here, this was all scale. Look at this, look how it neutralized it and turned all that white right there. Let me take some air to it, and we'll air dry it, and we'll see how it looks. As you can see, look how clean that bottom of that frame rail is. That looked like this, and the only reason that's cleaner than this because it was laying in a puddle there, just eating and neutralizing. Like I said, that's why I'm gonna hit it again this evening before I go in and let this work overnight and let it dry. And that should be etched good enough to where I can coat the inside of that frame with some kind of corrosion protection, whether it be Rust-Oleum or Corrales or something, I don't know. So we'll get that done before we put that trunk floor in there. So meanwhile, I guess while this is all doing its thing, and what acid stuff does is I'm gonna work on this roof frame and get this thing prepped for red oxide so I can get all this stuff primed. I'm gonna get the front filler panel prepped, and when I prime the roof skeleton, I'm gonna go ahead and prime this in red oxide as well. Get these side of these frame rails cleaned up, because now's the time to get in here. I mean, look, I'm right here. I can totally take care of this. Clean these up nice, wire brush them. In case you guys are wondering, why did I go ahead and red oxide the bottom of the trunk pan when I know I'm gonna sandblast the car yet? Doesn't matter, because I wouldn't be able to spray stuff if that panel was attached, but now I'll just touch it up after the car is blasted. I'm sure it's gonna get hit underneath, but it's all part of the process. but at least I know the tight spots are gonna have red oxide. It's just a matter of just misting back over it. It'll all be good when it's done, trust me. Let me get back here on a time lapse and I'll work on this roof structure and we'll bring you back. Back here, we got all this wire brushed, cleaned up. Tyler can take you around. We cleaned all the rust off of this, cleaned all this up. I'm gonna go ahead and hit this frame rail like I talked about before I go in tonight and let that soak again. And I'm gonna put a little bit of OSPO in this because I wanna get this cleaner before we do the red oxide. Obviously, the part that's already red oxide was part of the new roof structure that we put in. You all saw that in other videos. This is already looking so much better than what we started with today. That's gonna be clean up just perfect. Do the same here. We cleaned all this up, wire brushed all this down. So what we're gonna do now is bring you to where I cleaned up inside this trunk pan. This is where that staggered shock plate goes on that I had showed y'all 2 videos ago. We cleaned all that up, 64 spot welds that holds that in there. We had to pull that up to get that trunk floor in there to get it to tuck under there right. So that's all gonna go back together just like it came apart and it's gonna look good. Just waiting on them quarter panels, people. They are, man, I tell you what, if I known they were gonna be this long, I would have paid a truck freight. Somebody else could have got these quarters to me. When you order something from CJ's, lately, it's never in stock. They have to get it from Nevada. I don't understand that. You know, Pennsylvania, all the Mustangs rust in Pennsylvania and Maryland, Virginia area. So we would like to be further along on this project, but we're still not behind by any means. We're looking pretty good. We did go ahead and took the roof structure. I did drill out the rest of the spot welds here to get the roof. A lot of people, what they do is, and I'll show you, they'll take this fender well, and this is a cheat. I mean, I've done it in the past. Not on this car, I'm not doing it. You could put this fender well, if this piece was a nice flat piece, a lot of times you can just take that panel and trim it. You can get it, all thumbs here today, people, give me a second. You can lay that panel on there and weld it to there, but I went ahead and took the extra time and I did take it apart, took this whole panel apart here as you can see, and I'm gonna tuck it back up in there because you'll never get these lips off. They do some kind of roll pinch weld on these things and you destroy them things. So what I'll do is I'll weld through these holes that I drilled and I'll come in on the front side where I can't get and I'll weld it from the inside out to catch these welds. But it'll be up underneath, just like the factory did. It'll be underneath that panel, not above it. But there's nothing wrong with doing it the other way. This panel had a little bit of damage to it. I hammered and dollied the best I could, but if that was a flatter piece, I probably would have tried to put it on the outside, but we're gonna make this car as nice as we can. We're not gonna do that on this one. If it was a driver car, maybe. You can see I already got them all primed. We did manage to get this piece all out of the old tail light panel. I've been pulling brackets off of that. Gonna try to use all this stuff. It's all got the date codes in it. Not that it much matters. This car's got so much metal replaced on it. What's it matter at this point? But you know, like I said, if I can save it, I'm gonna save it. So what we're gonna do probably next week is we're gonna make another run down to Strip It Clean. Probably gonna start taking some suspension parts down to Strip It Clean. Strut rods, coil springs, control arms. I'm going to probably take door hinges, hood hinges, any miscellaneous stuff that I really don't feel like stripping by hand. I'm just gonna take it to them. It's so much more cost efficient, time efficient for me just to take it down to them guys. So we'll see that in upcoming videos. We're just gonna keep on moving on this project. And remember, like and subscribe and check out our merch store. We have t-shirts, sweatshirts, coffee mugs, stickers. If you got any comments, send them to Bloated Toad Garage and we'll see you in the next video. And obviously, by the views of my last video, obviously you guys don't like Grand Nationals. I thought it was a cool car. It was a cool story, but obviously you guys didn't think so. So give me a break. We'll bring the Mustang back in the next one. So we'll try to keep the GM content out of there. You didn't like it. So we're going to move on to, after this car is done, we got a California special conversion car coming in, which is from Will to Beast Garage. So remember, like and subscribe and send the comments to Bloated Toad Garage, and we'll see you next week.